The Las Vegas Raiders have a tight end named Brock Bowers, and in my opinion, he's the best tight end in the NFL right now. I'm not just saying that. Brock Bowers currently leads the league in both catches and receiving yards. He's also third in yards after the catch, which means once he gets the ball, he's nearly impossible to stop. But it's not just his stats that make him stand out. On this channel, we don't just rely on numbers, we break down game tape. And today, we're going to dive into some of Bowers' plays. But before we get into that, I want to share something really interesting I saw recently. Davante Adams was on a popular NFL Network show, and on this episode, one of the hosts was none other than Rob Gronkowski, who is, in my opinion, the greatest tight end to ever play the game. During the show, Davante made a bold comparison. He compared Brock Bowers to Gronk himself. And what Gronk had to say, well, it was pretty surprising. Check it out. Gronk said, "Brock Bowers is special. I've been watching him, and he's already making a huge impact. 9 catches for 98 yards in his last game alone. You just don't see rookies playing at this level." Adams added, "I don't want to put too much pressure on him, but Brock is different. He only cares about football, and he's got a real shot at being one of the greats. I mean, just look at what he's done already." Gronk even went further. "I think Bowers could eventually surpass me as a pass-catching tight end. He's explosive after the catch. While I dominated the trenches, I think Bowers can beat me in the receiving game. He's already set records with 15 catches, the most by a rookie tight end in their first 2 games. Hearing Gronk say that Bowers could be better than him is mind-blowing. Gronk was a mismatch nightmare. No one could cover him. So for him to say Bowers might surpass him is huge. And when you look at the stats, it's hard to argue. Bowers has 15 catches and 156 yards, leading all tight ends, not just rookies, in the NFL. He's also third in yards after the catch, which shows he's a playmaker. But it's not just about stats. When you watch the tape, it becomes clear how special Bowers is. And we'll do that in a moment. But first, let's talk about something Gronk mentioned. He said, "I don't think Bowers can dominate in the trenches like I did." Now, I don't completely agree with that. Gronk might not have watched enough tape on Bowers because, let's face it, these guys are busy, and grinding through hours of film takes time. But I've watched the tape, and while Gronk doesn't believe Bowers can be as dominant in the run game, I think he's wrong. Bowers has been impressive as a run blocker. In this first play, the Raiders put Bowers in motion, and he ends up lead blocking. He smashes into the defender, already engaged with another player, and flattens him. That's power. People often overlook Bowers as a run blocker, but he's already better than many, including Michael Mayer. And that pancake block, it's not even his best work. There's another play where Bowers takes the perfect angle to block a defensive end, holding his ground and making sure the defender can't get past him. The defensive end's job is to push Bowers back, but Bowers holds strong and even turns just enough to make sure the defender can't break the block. It's the little things like this that show how good Bowers is, not just as a pass catcher, but as a complete tight end. Brock Bowers is doing things that you just don't see from a rookie, especially in his second NFL game. On this play, Bowers sticks to his defender like glue, staying perfectly in position. That kind of block, it's not normal, even for experienced NFL players. There are guards and tackles who can't stay locked onto their man like Bowers just did. And it's not just one play. If you watch him, he's physically overpowering veterans. Take Marlon Humphrey, for example, a top-tier defender. Bowers tossed him aside like it was nothing, and it almost seemed effortless. What's even more impressive is how Bowers plays more like a wide receiver at times. The Raiders have him lined up in spots where you'd expect to see someone like Davante Adams. They do this to create mismatches because defenses don't know how to handle a guy like Bowers. When the Raiders come out with 3 tight ends, defenses typically stay in their base formations, which often include bigger defensive linemen and fewer cornerbacks. But with Bowers lining up wide, He's essentially acting as a receiver. And if someone like Humphrey has to block him, good luck. Bowers will just crush him. Even when Bowers is playing as a wide receiver, he's still out there making blocks, hitting defenders, and creating opportunities for the team. He's a mismatch machine, and that's only his run-blocking ability. Let's not forget how great he is as a pass catcher. Bowers isn't just an incredible blocker, he's a phenomenal route runner. We all know Marlon Humphrey is one of the best cornerbacks in the league, right? Well, Bowers made him look ordinary. He created separation, beat Humphrey clean, and didn't even slow down while running his route. That's the key. Most tight ends are big and strong, but they lack the speed and quickness to make sharp cuts without losing momentum. Bowers, he doesn't slow down. Whether he's running an in route, a post, or a corner, he's fast and smooth, and that makes him nearly impossible to cover. One play that really stood out to me was when Gardner Minshew threw a ball up for grabs, and Bowers came down with it. This play wasn't even meant for Bowers. It was designed for Davante Adams. But the offensive line broke down, and Minshew had to roll out. Instead of giving up on the play or throwing it away, Minshew threw it towards Bowers. Here's where Bowers' football IQ shines. He didn't just stand still, he adjusted, running back toward the quarterback, making himself a target. He caught the ball at the 6-yard line and dragged defenders down to the 1-yard line. That's strength. That's power. Instead of the Raiders starting at the 6 and maybe not scoring, Bowers' effort put them in prime position to punch it in from the 1. That's the kind of impact he has. Bowers has been a game changer for the Raiders. He's not only blocking, catching passes, and creating mismatches, he's doing everything at a high level. Plays like that, where he fights for extra yards, are what make him special. He's out there making a difference, whether it's in the passing game, run game, or just with his physical presence. What's really amazing is that Brock Bowers is only in his second NFL game, and yet he's already making a bigger impact than Michael Mayer has for the Raiders. Now that's not a knock on Mayer, it's just a fact. Bowers is something special, and I think a lot of people don't realize how different he is. I'll be honest, I didn't see it at first either. If you've followed me for a while, you know I usually focus on offensive and defensive linemen. I don't spend much time analyzing tight ends, quarterbacks, wide receivers, or safeties. That's not my area, and I don't pretend it is. But after watching Bowers, I have to admit, I underestimated this guy. He's an absolute superstar, and I'm excited about what he brings to the Raiders. Before we wrap this up, I want to show you something cool. If you watched my film breakdown of Bowers against the Chargers, you'll remember the Raiders ran a clever play where they isolated Bowers. It was a really well-designed play by Luke Getsy. Bowers faked a deep crossing route and then cut back towards the corner, catching the ball for a 26-yard gain. Now, last week I said this play won't work again because teams have seen it. But guess what? The Raiders ran the exact same play against the Ravens, and it worked again. The formation was a little different, but it was essentially the same concept. Bowers got wide open, just like before. You could even see the Ravens' defense trying to point it out, but they still couldn't stop him. He made the catch and picked up a ton of yards. So now, the Raiders have run this play 2 weeks in a row, and it's worked both times. But I'm going to say it again. The Carolina Panthers have seen this play now, and they won't let Bowers get away with it a third time. Or at least, I hope not. We'll see if it works again, but I wanted to point it out because I'm glad to see the Raiders mixing things up and having success. I honestly believe that if the Raiders' offensive line can clean up their game, this team has the potential to be really good. Maybe Luke Getsy isn't the problem after all, though I wouldn't go that far just yet, but I do think the Raiders can be legit, especially if the O-line gets it together. Hopefully, Getsy keeps finding ways to set us up for success, and hopefully the team can keep playing sharp, clean football. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time with more analysis on Brock Bowers and the Raiders.